what were your thoughts and where were you when you first realized that Kendrick had dropped a new album?
So I was at my desk in my home office and I was like, there's no way, bro. Because you text me. You were the first to tell me. I was like, there's no way this dude did that for real. I'm thinking like he dropped like a song, a music video, something before the Super Bowl. I had in my mind, I was like, he has to drop something before the Super Bowl because like if he does like some Eras tour or like, type of performance, like it'll be great. It'll be cool. But I feel like that's uncharacteristic. I feel like he has some cooking. He just has too much momentum going into the end of the year to not put out a song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but when he dropped out a whole album, GNX, bro, I was like, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Yeah, bro, that was my exact same thoughts. Like, so the first time, so I saw him drop the promo, which was crazy, but and I saw the promo drop,
Mm.
and the crazy thing is he dropped a promo for a song that's not on the album, which lets me think that that might be on a future album, like how he did Broccoli on the last. But he dropped
Mm.
that promo, and I posted it instantly to my story when I saw it. I was like, oh, dope! He putting out a new song. I
Mm.
promise you, I've never seen anybody drop a promo for an album and then like it couldn't have been more than an hour later. You dropped the album. I was like, oh, yo, this is what we're gonna jump right into it after the promo. Okay. Yeah, bro. And it was crazy. I was just like, oh, he put out a whole I almost didn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, nah, this is not a Kendrick album. And I was like, oh, he really just dropped this out the blue, man. So it was exciting though, man. It was exciting. It brought me back. I can't remember a time where I've been that excited for an album to drop in a minute.
In a minute, bro. Like I think the last time I got that excited, I'm willing to say it was Jay-Z 444. I think that was
Yeah,
the last time where I was like, whoa, like the
that
world
same.
just froze in my mind. I was like, whatever I have to do. I was on assignment too. I was like, F that. If my editors listen to this, sorry, you got it done. You got it though. So, but I froze for a minute, like, yo, I don't care what else is the priority. This is the priority right now. And how did you feel about the album when you listened to it, bro?
I'm gonna be so going through it, man. Oh, all in all, bro, I rock with it heavy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so off the first joint, like I would say, well, first let me talk more in totality. Out of the 12 songs that are on this record, I'm gonna go. I'll probably really rock with eight. Heavy, like really love
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah. How
It's a,
many songs are on it? 10?
I think it is 12. Let me see.
12? Okay.
Yeah, there's 12. There's 12 joints on here. I love eight of them.
Okay.
So, which is a great ratio, man. Yeah, and I would say it's a little top heavy. I like the first half more than I like the second half, but
Mm.
man, bro. So just to get into the songs that stood out to me the most, the ones I love, and I'll talk a little more deeply about them too. Whacked Out Murals, the intro, the energy on that one, just the
Yeah.
anger I hear in his voice and his tone in that song. I mean, it really was an intro of Let Me Air Everything Out. And we'll get more into the Wayne, all that stuff too.
Mhm.
Squabble Up was fire because it was dope to finally hear where he was going with that teaser that he put on the Not Like Us video.
Mhm.
So and that sample from Debbie Deb, I did not see that coming. I didn't see that song
Yeah.
sounded completely different than I imagined it in my head.
Mhm.
But I loved it. Luther with Scissor Fire. Man at the Garden, one of my favorite joints on here, man. That song, it resonated with me so much. Like what just the entire messaging of it. When I listened to it the first time, I was like, yo, he is talking directly to me. Like I felt the
Mhm.
messaging in that song wholeheartedly. Hey now I could skip. I wasn't really feeling that one, I'll be honest.
Mhm.
It wasn't for me, you know what I mean? I spent some time on the West Coast, but I'm not from the West Coast, and that one is a little too West Coast for me. It's too
Mm.
new. I love West Coast music, but it's too the Kitty era of West Coast, these new young guys, that sound doesn't necessarily resonate. The Blueface sound, I'm not really it's not my bag. I'm gonna be honest. Some of it is cool, but overall, that sound doesn't necessarily resonate with me that,
Mm.
that way. Sometimes it can have done well, like really, really well. I'll be like, oh no, this is hard. Like that, what's the name of that song that came out with the little dance to it? Right, left. Let me see you do it. What song is that? It might be called
Oh, I
Right
don't
Left.
even know this. I know the song, but I don't know the
Yeah,
name.
like that West Coast song. hard to me. Like when I first heard that, I was like, I like this. But
Mm,
like, so it can work, but a lot of times I don't. So
yeah.
hey, now I didn't like reincarnated. Oh my god.
Mm,
Uh, great, great tribute to one of the greatest to me. Probably to me, I always say the most important rapper.
mm,
Some people say the greatest, the best lyricist, the best this, the best that. To me, Tupac is probably the most important rapper in hip hop history to me. And his music resonated with me in a different way than any other artist. And I'll say that like he not only used a beat and sampled a beat from Tupac, but he used one of my favorite Tupac songs. So this one I was in
mm.
immediately. Made in Words is one of my favorite Pac songs, and it's actually on the soundtrack. It's not even like a main Pac song, which is why I know like I thought, oh, he really listens to Tupac
For
because
sure.
yeah, that's one of those and fire. Like, and I thought that what he did with that, and we could talk a little bit more about that too in a minute. But I even think what he did with the storytelling on that one was fire. Um, TV off. I started off not liking it, and then when that beat switched, I changed my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that one brought me in, and that's going viral. Of course, the memes. Dodger Blue, that was cool. Wasn't my type of
That's crazy. Okay.
Dodger
All right.
Blue. I mean, I wasn't mad at it. I wasn't
Mm,
mad at it. It wasn't bad, but I was it didn't resonate with me like that. It wasn't a song that I would go back to.
mm.
Peekaboo, not at all for me. Not
Crazy.
not in the
Okay.
not in the least
Uh,
bit. I would never revisit that. Like that's not me. But you know what
that's
I do
crazy.
respect about how he did this? It
Mm-hmm.
reminds me, and I wonder if he took a page off of this when he was doing it. Some of these songs remind me of what Pac did with the Outlaws. Um, how
Mm.
he took
I
some
like that
rapper,
too.
how he took some artists who we didn't really know, never heard of, some younger cats, and
Mm-hmm.
and put them all over songs. That's kind of the feel I got from some of these records. Of like, okay, I'm gonna put on my homie, I'm gonna put on some of the more the up and coming West Coast guys. And throw them on some of these songs, and it's gonna be super West Coast. It's gonna be super like that's the vibe it's gonna be, and that's all good and dandy. Is that I don't want to hear it. I love them. I love what he's doing, but it's not. I'm just not the peekaboo
Mm-hmm.
demographic. But Hard Part Six, amazing,
Amazing, bro.
amazing, love it. Um, GNX, eh. I'm also it's
Yeah.
cool. You know what I mean? Not one of my favorite songs. And then Gloria with Scissor Fire. Like so,
Fire. Yeah.
yeah. So I think I'm nine. I'm 9 for 12.
Okay.
Now that I go through it, I'm 9 for 12 are songs that I really, really rock with. And like four that are like amazing, like some of my favorite Kendrick songs now. So that's saying a lot. Like Man at the Garden, Reincarnated, those are like I was blown
Mm-hmm.
away listening to those songs. Like it was like he really brought you into the storytelling in a different way. All right? So what did you think about the album? What's your breakdown?
Bro, I think like it's crazy because this is why this pod, we've said why the pod is good. Because the polarity, like the things that you'll sometimes love, I'll sometimes and vice versa.
Mhm.
I love 10 out of 12 of these songs, bruh. And
Mm.
the two songs that you said you love the most are the ones I don't like the most.
Oh,
Literally, bro.
you don't like Reincarnated?
No.
How?
And I so okay. So
How is this possible?
I don't like reincarnated because like I understand that Tupac is a huge influence. Probably his biggest him and early Jay-Z is probably his biggest musical influences. You know,
Right.
what he said in interviews
Yeah.
and stuff over the years. But I don't paying tribute is cool. I just didn't think this song cut through for me, only because it's too pockish, like
But
ironically, pun intended. But it's too pockish. Like I don't like that. It sounds like an imitation, whereas I would have wanted just to hear something not that. Like I can't even explain it.
mm,
It's just it sounds like an imitation, and I don't really like that because Kendrick has had flashes where he reminds me of a Tupac in his messaging, but he's not doing the same cadence, same flow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and
Eh,
I
but-
get he's using a sample, like he's sampling one of his records, but I don't know. I just feel like I'd rather have heard him implore like a maybe like an interlude in the song where it's like we can hear Pac or something, like rather than what he did. I just wasn't really feeling it.
That's
It's yeah,
different. Okay.
yeah.
And see,
I
like
it's
mine was polar opposite. I thought it was dope because of number one, with the theme of the song being reincarnated. It was almost like I'm becoming Pac as far as the message,
mm.
as far as like how he's rapping it, as far as the flow and cadence. But I also thought it was dope, like the storyline. So I'm still trying to figure out who the first artist he's speaking from the
Yeah, I
perspective.
don't know who he's talking about. I
The second
thought,
one, the
uh,
second one is Billie Holiday. I could tell that one immediately when I heard it.
yeah.
Billy is from the perspective of Billie Holiday. I was trying to figure out the first.
Is the first one Stevie or no?
No, he said it was somebody who dead who
Never mind.
he named the person being gone. So it had to be somebody who was
Oh,
dead. So at first I thought Jimi Hendrix, but then he said he was from Michigan, and Jimi Hendrix isn't from Michigan. So
and
I
so
couldn't.
Stevie Wonder's from Michigan, but he's from Saginaw, not Flint. I think bro said Flint at the beginning. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think no, he just said Michigan.
Yeah, okay. And CV was born in 1950, so never mind. He said something like 1946 or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. So there's a couple people who I think it could be. John Lee Hooker is one. Jimi
Oh,
Hendrix was another, but like I said, it said Michigan, so that's what threw me off with the Jimi Hendrix perspective. At first, my mind went to Chuck Berry, but then when I looked it up, I'm like, Chuck Berry
mm,
not from Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So it was. I was trying to pin out who that he was talking about, but I thought it was dope how like he's speaking from one perspective there. Then
mm,
the second perspective, he's speaking from the perspective of Billie Holiday. These people who he feels like influence or he's the reincarnated version of I thought was fire. But then he's in the third verse, him speaking from the perspective um of basically the God speaking to the devil.
yeah,
And the devil speaking back to God. I thought it was just amazing, bro. The storyteller, and I like maybe it's because I like that type of hip
yeah.
hop that speaks from different perspectives and
Mm,
and makes you have to like think like, oh, what perspective is he talking about from these songs? Like Lupe has done that a lot, and I always have loved it. So
mm.
I like that type of rap. But I could see where you're coming from as far as like not liking the pop. But to me, that was like what made it fire. And I also think it was a low key shot at Drake because it was like you needed AI to do this. I'm going to do this myself and embody what Pac sounds like. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's
So
crazy. I didn't expect you to not like that one.
yeah, I wasn't really rocking with it. And again, like it's not as if Kendrick hasn't done similar things. Like I actually wanted to go back to
Yes,
the song "How Much a Dollar Costs." Like he was speaking of a like unhoused or homeless guy who's really
yep.
God. You know what I mean? So
He's done
he's
it a
done
lot.
that,
He's done it a lot.
and it works. You know what I'm saying? It just this one just didn't work for me. Cause sonically I just wasn't really rocking with it. And then
Oh,
Man at
see.
the Garden, great lyrically, but like again, bro, it's just like, and this is also the reason because with the tonality of like the album as a whole, like those two records, like to me, took me out of the experience, like the world he created. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. So I was almost kind of like personally, me, I wouldn't be driving a black GNX listening to either of those two songs. So like maybe
Oh,
Reincarnated I would actually listen to, but I just wouldn't enjoy as much as I enjoy some of the other songs on here.
you
Yeah,
breaking
bro.
my you breaking my heart, Earl. I can't
But
believe I can't believe those are the two that I was not expecting.
mm-mm.
You threw me for a loop with this one. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna
and I think I know why because me, like I think I said this on the podcast, bro. When I was like 12, 13, like I used to wear big khakis, bro, like house shoes, like the button ups from like the movies, like Don't Be a Menace
lie.
while driving
Hilarious,
on the
bro. You
hood, like
thought you was from the West Coast.
bro, for real. Like I love Snoop, I love Dr. Dre, like in NWA, all that. Like so I love that sound, I love that era. One of my favorite game albums is the one that it's the same on the album cover. It's the same designer who designed Doggy Style album cover. Like I'm
Yeah.
forgetting the name of the album, but I just love that West Coast sound, like that G Funk sound. So like Squabble Up, that had
Oh,
me. It had me at the snippet
oh,
to this point. To see it to hear it in full, bro. I'm like, I wasn't like you said, I wasn't expecting him to do this, but I love it. You know what I'm saying? Whacked Out Mural set the whole tone for the album, bro. On some like people give me tribute, they respect me, but yet I still have these detractors and haters, bro. And like the reasons as to why is crazy. One of
mhm.
my biggest happens to be a man named Lil Wayne. We're gonna get into it. Who I don't think Lil Wayne hates, like is hating on Kendrick for the way he feels about it, but we can get into that. But
Yeah, for sure.
like not to take it away, Hey Now is one of those West Coast songs that to me is a little bit, like you said, too West Coast. It's just a little bit. It's just not it doesn't like it's not as engaging as like a song like for me like TV off. And I don't know if you're familiar with Lefty Gunplay, but I
No.
see him on a lot of like social media platforms and like on a lot of podcasts. But he's really loopy
Let me
and really you can tell like he's not all the way together. You know
let
what I'm
me
saying?
let me be clear. I don't know
Yeah.
any of these West Coast rappers who are on this album.
I know,
Not name
and
one.
I'm gonna get to one of my favorite features on the album, who happens to be like an up and coming West Coast artist who was featured on Schoolboy Q's album, who is on my favorite Schoolboy Q song, like on that album,
Okay.
Blue Lips. But so Lefty Gunplay, he didn't have a verse on here, but like he was on the tail end of TV off. He was the last voice, and I'm like,
Okay.
and it made me go back to his music. I'm like, this dude make good music. If only he got his personal life together, like he would be special. Probably he could be
Okay.
special, like a less troll esque, like and more authentic 6ix9ine, like Tekashi 6ix9ine. I know that's gonna blow people away because
Mm.
Tekashi's from New York, number one.
Yeah.
What's her name is from the West Coast, but I could see parallels there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Dodger Blue to me is beautiful. All the mariachi infused like songs on here, like to do that. I know we found the woman, the singer at like a
Yeah.
Dodgers game. Like that's dope because
Yeah.
when people think about LA rap, they often forget like the Hispanic Latin influence when we have a Cypress Hill. You know what I'm saying? Like they're prominent figures in LA rap. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So I respect the fact that he even did that. Now, Peekaboo is one of my favorite songs on here, bro.
Oh
So
gosh.
that's crazy. Like
Peekaboo was crazy, man.
AZ Chike, bro. Like that man just he's gonna be special, bro. I can see it. Like he's super West Coast. He reminds me of like a young YG to an extent, but he could rap. I think he's a more lyrical version of YG. I'm not saying he'll be as big as YG because YG is a big artist in the West Coast, but I could see like comparison. I can see the comparison there. Um, I like Peekaboo because it's just so West Coast. It's goofy, bro.
I would
It's
like
goofy, but I
it's
rock with it.
way too goofy for me. Peekaboo, I would think Peekaboo was cool if a 16-year-old made it.
I rock with it, bro. I love that sound. The only song that is super West Coast that I don't really rock with is "Hanging Out," like I said, but GNX. It's not a bad song.
Oh,
It's
cool.
just a posse cut that really doesn't cut through for me. Like
Yeah,
it's
no.
just because we like the game to me has some of the best modern posse cuts from the West Coast I've ever heard. Like on his what was that album with
But
like
one blood was
One Blood is fire.
the remix of that when everybody and their mom got on it.
He had Celebration off of that one project with Ali Bombay or whatever it had on there.
Yeah.
Um but anyway, it just GNX didn't really cut through for me as a posse cut, but he closed the album out with the Heart Part 6. I like the Heart Part 5. That's my favorite in the series, but
Mine too.
this one like stood up to the standard too though because he's talking about things that I've always enjoyed him talking about. It's like essentially Black Hippie. Like he admitted to some things I've never heard from him. Um I haven't seen him talk about it in interviews too, like how he basically was the reason Black Hippie never ascended to what we thought it could be with all of those figures. Like you had Schoolboy, you had J Rod, you had
Yeah.
Absol. Like it's
How did
supposed to go
that,
crazy. You know what I mean?
how did that not come to fruition? Yeah. I thought it was cool that he touched on that too.
Yeah. And Gloria, like, let's just say this, yo. Every collaboration with SZA he's ever done has been pretty much
Fire.
amazing. So
Fire.
that should be no surprise to anybody. So yeah, as far as my views on the album as a whole, clearly I really like the album. Where does this sit with you as far as his past projects? And is it fair to compare it?
I think I think I would need to sit with it a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
To really see where I view it and see how these songs age. So
Mm-hmm.
I hate to rank it now, but I would definitely say it's not anywhere near the top.
No.
No, it's nowhere near like Good Kid or Damn or any of that. No, but
Mm-hmm.
like I said, it's probably somewhere in the realm of his last project. It's like either before or after that, depending on how I have to go back and listen to Mr. Morale again, and see because like I said, some of the songs on here I really love. Like I said, the introspective ones I like the Reincarnated, the Man at the Garden. Those ones
Mm-hmm.
hold up high for me just as far as how in depth the storytelling was. The concepts were well thought out and Yeah,
Mm.
and like I said, with reincarnated, he had the cheat code for me because, like I said, he sampled one of my favorite pop songs, and then I hope he redoes the video because it's actually one of the most creative videos to me too.
Yeah.
The fact that Pac is doing like the selfie thing before there was a selfie thing, you know what I mean? And it's a crazy video. So hopefully he shoots a video for that too. But I would definitely, it's definitely not above Good Kid. It's not above Damn. Um, I'll have to listen to it, sit with it to see where it is amongst like To Pimp a Butterfly. You know what I mean? Like I said, it'll
Mm.
depend on how it ages, but it's definitely not in the top two or three.
Yeah, nah. Like I think that's, and I was talking to,
But I also don't think it's at the bottom. It's hard with Kendrick because Kendrick doesn't have any bad albums. Like it's above Section 80 to me. You know what I mean?
mm,
But Kendrick don't have any bad albums, so it's hard to like rank his stuff. But
mm.
what you thinking?
Yeah, so I shout out my guy Steve too. We talked about this over the weekend. Do you know how many voice memos I swapped back and forth with folks, bro? Because they didn't want to wait until the podcast episode came out. They wanted to know my views right then and there. I'm like, yo, like let me just enjoy
Mm,
it at first. But then
same.
like it didn't really take me that long to digest it. And I think that's why it was easy for me to come with like a placement area, like ballpark, but also like I think that that reflects my views on the project too, because if this in fact is an album, because I want to start there. Like by all accounts, it seems like it's an official album. It's not like a collection. You know how Untitled was kind of like an album,
Yeah.
really not. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm comparing it for an album because like
Yeah.
I wrestle with that though because it seems like it doesn't sound like it was just put together, but it just seems like maybe this wasn't intended to be an album. It just like yo, let's just capitalize on a moment and just drop something. Like it kind of feels that way, and not in a bad way. The timing just doesn't seem like characteristically Kendrick. You know what I mean? To me,
And the reason why I don't know is the only reason why I'm kind of considering the album is because he wrote out a video for it, which we'll talk about
true.
a little,
That's true.
which we'll talk about more in a second. But
Yeah.
I thought the same thing though, and I know that's the rumor going around is that he has another project coming, and that this was like a almost like a one project. Which
Yeah.
if he does that, if he drops another one before the Super Bowl, that's insane.
That's insane, bro. Like
Because
that's
like
yeah.
if your throwaway album is better than everybody else's real album, that's
That's crazy.
and this thing is gonna go number one. Let's be real.
Oh, easily, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Easily.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
so that would be insane if this was
Yeah.
that. But so where does it fall for you?
I would say it would fall for me because okay, let's just put it plain. It's not going to be at the top. Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, those are untouchable to me. Like, you know what I mean? So we got to really think about okay, it's better than Untitled in my opinion. I actually enjoyed Untitled, even though we can't compare the two. I'm just like, for my
Yeah,
sake, I'm just raking in my mind.
yeah.
Um, do I like it better than Section 80? That's really tough. I would actually put it under Section 80. I
So
would
you putting it
actually.
at the very bottom then? Or what, Mr. Morale?
Ooh.
Where is it?
I'm putting it above Mr. Morado. So second, and I know this is gonna sound bad. Second to worst is not actually bad. It's
Yeah,
really we just talked about it. It's a really good body of work in
right.
totality, but like Section 80 and like between that and Damn is like to me you can't really. It's hard to make a better album than any of those four albums. Like to be honest.
And,
So
and for me, I'm not even, other people are more quick to, I'm not even that quick to put it above Mr. Morale because Mr. Morale is fire. I don't like when
it's good.
I
It's
didn't have
good.
the same feelings that other people had towards that album. Like when I thought it was solid. So for me, this is somewhere around where that is. And I have to go back to Section 80 to see where it is. Section 80
Mm.
was just early production wise. So I think that
Yeah.
his production got better. His writing was great on there, but I think the production isn't as good as his other albums. So that's why I always put Section 80 at the bottom. Not because of it's
Mm.
not better, but to me, I don't revisit those just because I don't like the production as much as I like his other production.
Yeah.
Um, and the quality of the album. But oh yeah, I'm probably with
Yeah.
you on that though. I think it's towards the bottom, but like I don't want to say that like it's bad because Kendrick's all his albums are fire. So it's not
Right.
like there's not a bad album to put beneath it immediately.
Exactly. And I think why I placed it there is because like, okay, I just talked about it. Like, it's easy for me to digest this, whereas other Kendrick projects is a concept that's wrapped around it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's like a bunch of dope songs. Like Good Kid, Mad City, made to some people on first, second, third listen, may just be a collection of dope like songs. No, bro, it's a concept. It's
Mhm.
he's unraveling his upbringing in Compton. You know what I mean? Whereas this is
Uh,
just like
well,
I want to, yeah.
I'm not so sure that this isn't a concept.
What's the concept?
I don't know yet, but there's a lot of stuff in here I don't know. I don't know what the heck that mariachi singer is singing. I don't know what none of that means. I also don't know what perspective he's talking about on reincarnated. I also don't know. Um, um, there's a few things in here that's like I don't really fully know what he's talking about yet. So I can't quickly say it's not a concept because somebody listening to Good Kid, Mad City on the first listen wouldn't think that it's a concept album. So I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not
But
certain that this isn't a concept album yet.
to me, the only concept that comes to mind is like, and you're right, like, because with the other albums, it takes weeks, months,
Yeah,
even
we've only had a
years
few
to really
days.
think about it. Like, it wasn't until 2 years after Mr. Morale dropped that I was like, yo, I get it. Like, like for real, like, because you'll hear like hip hop, like writers, journalists, pundits, whatever. They'll tell you what the album's about, but sometimes they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Or they're not really describing it in full. So to me, this album, what it represented was the unification of the West Coast. That's what it sounded like to me, specifically LA, because I know we throw West Coast around LA. Like it seemed
Yeah.
like it's LA unification. You know what I mean? Which is reflective of the artists that he named on the song or he had on the album. Like, yo, I like put 100 hoods on one stage, like when he's referencing the pop out. That's what it feels like to me. But who knows what we'll think about in 6 months from now, a year from now. But it just seems like it's the most easily digestible upon like the first 5, 6 listens, which isn't characteristic again for most Kendrick albums in my mind. So that's why I have it where I have it too.
Okay. Okay. Man, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, makes sense. Like I said, I've listened to it. There's still some holes in here that I haven't filled. So that's why I'm like, I don't really fully know. Even how he's speaking, he's talking like rapping in these different tones of voices on some of these different songs. Like I don't know if he's speaking from different perspectives in it. Like, hey,
Mm.
now is he talking in this dark, super dang near
Yeah.
demonic voice on that
Yeah.
song? Like I really don't know. But the more I sit with it, I feel like I'll be able to really put it in perspective more. The more I sit with it, listen to it, and play it. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of joints on here that I definitely would be playing that have been added to playlists. So
Yeah.
yeah, fire, man. I think the more I listen to it, I'll be able to clearly say if I like it better than Mr. Morale. But right now, it's like neck and neck.
Yeah, it's close. I don't want to make it seem like it's not close as it is. Because Mr. Morale, bro, I was there for the concert. I think you were there for the tour, one of the tour stops, weren't you?
No, I couldn't go. I was mad.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
damn. Okay.
I missed
Well,
that
when
one.
when you see the performance, you like,
But I saw
oh,
it. I saw it live. I saw it like I don't know if it was Amazon or somebody that actually put out they streamed his live performance. I watched.
yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of like made sense of it. Almost like I didn't go to this. You know what I mean? But from people that went to the Yeezus, like Kanye Yeezus tour, they were like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So it just made it that the album that much better, in my opinion. So yeah.
That's good. I still don't get Jesus.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
And
It'll take a couple live shows to make that make sense in my head. But
yeah,
this is yeah. So I think there'll be more, and I think the more he puts out visuals for this could also alter that. So Rap and Reason podcast with Dr. Jeremy C. McCool and Earl Hopkins.